the most tender and juicy hog you'll ever wrap a lip around. What are we talking about? Big honking pork chops, dry brine to bring all that moisture and seal it back in there. Throw it on the grill, cook it just right, and lather it with some of that great Red River Mud barbecue sauce. Come on, cause I am gonna eat without you. Woo, thank y'all for stopping by under the barn, and Lord, thank you for the barn for some shade, cause the solar generator was on high today. It was, I'm talking hot. What are we talking about? The perfect tender barbecued pork chop that ain't one of these little bitty wimpy things that's like this or like this. It is a full 1.5 inch thick bone-in center cut pork chop. Just makes your mouth water when you talk about it. But we're gonna brine it. Brine, you say? To brine or not to brine? That is the question. I'm talking about a salt base, either wet or dry. If it is wet, it is a solution. If it is dry, it is a rub. Make me want to do something right now. Do the salt and the pepper and the, no, that don't go.
Does that any of that rhyme?
No, it don't rhyme. I've always brined a turkey for Thanksgiving. Put him down in this big old pot, got all kinds of salt in there, all kinds of herbs and spices and everything, which makes the turkey what? More tender. Because everybody like a tender turkey, they do. But pork chops, I've done a video on the perfect grilled pork chops where we always use our lime juice, which is a natural meat tenderizer, and it breaks down muscle protein. But folks, this is somewhat, to me, a better deal all the way around, especially if we're talking about a big old thick piece of meat that we're going to put it on. Now, if you're going to plan this, just go ahead and mark it on the calendar. You need 24 hours in advance, because you could let it set 3, but we ain't. You could let it set 6, but we ain't. We're going 24 because it makes a big difference. Now, you've seen me as I mixed up the brine rub. Salt, a little pepper, some garlic powder, and a little bit of mesquite seasoning, and you just rub that in pretty well all the way around on both sides. You got it on a flat pan with a wire rack, and you just place them there. Make sure you do both sides. Make sure you got room in that refrigerator. Slip them in there. I put these in there at 6 o'clock. I took them out at 5:30 because we want them to come to room temperature as they begin to warm up. But 12 hours in, I flipped them over so they could dry out a little. Now, I do want to mention that you put these in there uncovered. They're just laying on that wire rack. Do not put them directly on a pan. Get you a wire rack, set them on there. Remember, 24 hours. Well, the star of the show is here, and I just want to pick this.
Did you mean the beak?
Well, pretty close. Now, I want to pick this up so y'all can see how thick that rascal is. Whew. And you can see as Shan pans in here a little closer, it's sort of got a little sponginess right there to it, to where that has took effect on both sides and sort of drawed that moisture back in there and then let it seep back in there. Now, when you go to buy pork, it's just like buying steak, folks. You need to look for that what in that pork? Marbling, because it's going to have it just like a steak. Pick you out some of them good pork chops. If you don't see none in there, ask that butcher, can you cut me some center cut pork chops about 1.5 inches thick? I need to be cooking them for supper. So make sure you got them, and you're going to see a little fat rind on these, as you see right here. There's not a whole lot there, but it is there. Now, when meat hits a fire and the muscles begin to tense and they pull, things will try to curl up a little bit at a time. So just take your knife and just slice right through that fat if it's got very much on there, and that way we ain't going to have no curling up. I don't think that one's got enough to make no difference. We'll give this one a little pinch right here, and we're good to go. Now, we got the Hasty Bake full of some hardwood lump on one end, which is the Fogo brand, and it is so good. And we ain't got nothing on the other end. Now, big and thick as they are, if we just throw these right over on the fire, we'd be constantly turning these things to keep them from getting too dark on the outside till that middle reached a temp for about 145, and then we're going to let them rest to come on up. 145, 150. Pork is supposed to be eat at 160 to 165, but everybody's saying now you can eat it at 155. So let's get it over on the fire and we'll see what happens. Remember, all the fire is here. These babies is going right down here till they can warm up to about 140, 145. Shut the lid. Don't look at it, don't mess with it, don't even talk to it till about 10 or 15 minutes, then we'll check that internal temp and see where we're at. Well, we've been on about 40 minutes. Them chops is thick, they are, and we're gonna do some checking. Now, ooh, ain't them pretty right there? Now, you're gonna need to get you one of these probes. You can do it like we do the steak deal. Does it got some give to it? Does it set up? Them are awful close if I was wanting like a medium steak, and that's sort of where I like to eat my pork. But I'm gonna grab a hold of this one right quick and show you. I like to probe him right in the center of the meat, about the center of the chop. We're gonna move them over here to the direct side of the fire. Hear that sizzle? That hog says it was ready a long time back to be over. But since they've been on this side, let's go ahead and turn them over on this one. Get over here, hog. We're gonna bring that temperature up about 10 or 12 degrees. So we moved them over here to this side of the fire. Remember, we flipped them over. Now, I may not have told y'all, or you might not have caught it, but when we started this deal out, we was probably running about 300, but we was on the indirect side. Now we're back over here on the direct side, and the flames is kissing the hog, they are. So you're gonna have to turn a few times. We wanna get some really good grill marks, and we're not there. But just pay attention, don't run off. It's not time that you can go say, oh, I'm gonna go see what score the ball game is. You be burning the hog meat. But we get it to where we want it, get a little char, get some good crust on there. We're gonna lather it with some of our best barbecue sauce ever, Red River Mud. Before we go any further, make sure you have some of these, because you fitting to get it from your eyebrows down to your belly button. They're going to be so good. But you bring them off there, I want you to let them rest. Just like you would any good steak, we're going to let these pork chops rest too. Because look at the beak. He is resting. He said he knows that the meat has to rest before you can eat it. So he's saving up his energy for a bite. So I'm just going to take off right here. And I'm just going to pull it right out here. And look at that juiciness, just, oh my gosh. Big. This is probably gonna be the best pork chop that me and you ever eat. Now, I've got a lot of help out here today, so I'm gonna let this cool just a little more. And we're gonna what? Culinary. Duke has quit us. There you go, buddy. You wait for it now. Wait. Don't do it yet. You just sit there and you wait, because I'm going to feed Mage. Now, you just hang on. Wait just a little bit more. You're a good puppy. Say hello. Good job. Say hello. Now it is time for me. And I can't hardly wait, because this barbecue sauce, folks, it's one of my most favorite things I've ever invented. So juicy, so tender. You get that smoke that we penetrated through there. That apple wood comes comes through there right on top. It does. But the brining, folks, it just makes, I want you to see if you can see this.
Oh my word.
There's so much juice in there. It's the juiciest, tenderest pork chop you're ever going to wrap a lip around. And let me have one more bite, and then we're going to talk to you. Makes me want to do the what? Get it, Porky Pig dance. Porky didn't move that fast. And he was always afraid somebody was going to get the pork chops. But that is some fine dining right there. That barbecue sauce is what's happening. I got to feed you, Shin, because I want you to try it, sugar. They are so juicy, so tender, and full of a lot of smoke. Would you get down, please? We have so much help today. Good,
that
ain't
is
it?
good.
Folks, put this in your kitchen because you're going to want to use it on everything. It sticks to meat really well as long as your chin and everything else too goes with it. But this is one of the easiest recipes you're going to do. Takes a little time, 24 hours in advance, so if you're planning it for the weekend, get them pork chops Friday morning. Go ahead and get them in there, get them to brining dry in that ice box, okay? And hey, we just want to what? Thank y'all for all tuning in because it means the world to me and Shan. And I just want you to know that through all these times that we be going through, whether they be good times, bad times, rough times, or smooth times, the trail always winds. The trail always climbs and the trail always goes down. But hey, we on the trail because we like it and we're going to make the most of it, and I know y'all are going to too. So just tell yourself every morning when you get up, that trail is smooth and I'm going to enjoy it. I am. Now everything that we use today will be listed right down there below in the little recipe. Go to our website, you can find it there. But as always, and I do it with pleasure and honor, I do. I tip my hat to all the servicemen and women and all the veterans who have kept this old country safe and keep that flag flying back there. We never take what y'all did or what you do for granted. So if you see one of them walking down the street, folks, or you know somebody that's in the military service, or you know a veteran, you tip your hat to them. You tell them, thank you so much for your service because we are proud of you. Rest of you, come on in here. You know it's time for the big old hug that's always coming at the end. And I put on deodorant today, so you're going to be all right with it. You are. I'm going to be glad that you're watching, and I'm going to pick this up before I grab my hat one more time. God bless you one and all, and I'll see you down the perfect tender pork chop trail.
You have a big stain on that?
Where? Shan said let's drag out the hog. Andy, you want to do that? I'm sticky.